Hey guys and girls, it's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. Got a fun one on the bench today. We are going to take this Jazz Bass, Corona, California, US made. We're going to kind of look at it really quickly, but it's going to be a rebuild. She's getting a new neck. She's getting new pickups. We have to do a repair on the control cavity. She's getting a new bridge. And saddle assembly. A lot of things going on here. Let's get to work. This is going to be fun. So today we're only doing dismantling, and we're going to talk about this bass a little bit. Customer, this is the second. He wants a jazz bass, but he wants a P bass neck. Where have we heard that before? He has a P bass. Referred to earlier videos. Recently I had his white P bass, Modern Professional 2 on the bench, doing some work on it, changing the bridge. This one's going to get the same thing. It's getting the same treatment, Babbitt's. Yeah, so he liked it. I liked it. Quarter pounders. I recommend them. I use them in all my basses. And he's going to put flat wounds on it, okay? But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about this bass. It is what I believe to be somewhere around 2017. The neck looks pretty anemic to me. It's a run-of-the-mill, nothing special. It's got a laminated fretboard on it. You can see the truss rod adjustment is down here where we hate it because really the only way, even though they give you the cutout, the only way to really adjust a neck like this is to pop it off, get in there cleanly and make your adjustment, reset the neck. My only bitch about Fender, I've been a Fender guy my whole life. I mean, I build my own Fender basses from parts. Source out bodies and necks and yada yada yada. The only thing he didn't get yet, oh by the way, the Babbitt's bridge is black. He's got tuning machines coming that are black. He sourced out for the new neck. The new neck, excuse me, is right here. Roasted maple, beautiful example. I have one of these. This is a P bass Mexican, which means the truss rod adjustment is up here. I have one of these exact necks on one of my jazz bass body P bass neck guitars. It's my number 2 guitar. So you can see the difference in color. This is also a one-piece neck. There is not a laminated fretboard on it. It is, I don't know, some people affectionately refer to them as a skunk stripe. They put the truss rod in from the back instead of underneath the fretboard, which is then laminated onto it. They're both fine. Both, whether it's got a fretboard laminated on it or it's a one-piece, you know, completely a one-piece neck. Either way, it is clear-coated, but there's no clear coat on the frets that I can tell. Usually we don't have that problem with these. I think later on in this bass's life it's going to get a new nut. These nuts are not the best, but I left mine in. I haven't changed it yet, but that's going to be in a subsequent video. Sooner or later I'm going to change my nut. But I digress. So at least you got to look at the neck that's going to go in this thing. Today is going to be dismantle. We're going to de-string it. We're going to pop the neck. We're going to pop the bridge. We're going to pull the control cover out. This is one of the things I wanted to talk about. He bought, this is the second one he's gotten, and the first one was, this I think is a 2017, and it's in much better condition than the 21 or 22 that he had brought me previously that he wanted to do the same kind of thing on. And oddly, that bass was in horrible condition. For a bass that was only a year or two old, it had looked like it had been dragged behind the garbage truck. But I noticed the same defect in that bass and this one. There's a huge gap between the control cover and the pick guard. This was not drilled and set properly, the control cover. This gets put in wherever it gets put in because it has to follow the, you know, the outline of the neck and the pickup. That kind of is what it is, but there's no excuse for that. I mean, I'm not even going to use a feeler gauge. I can slide my ruler in there, and that still has room. So we're gonna pull that off, and I'm taking it off anyway because in line with the blacked out bridge and saddle assembly and the blacked out tuning machines that he has sourced out, that he picked and wanted, I'm going to take the time to paint this control cover black. I don't like them silver like this because after you play them for a couple of weeks, they show everything, every little piece of sweat, every piece of oil, every time you touch it, they get dirty and nasty and you can't keep them clean. Black them out. I use like it's not a high gloss finish, flat. And that way you just take a brush and poop, poop, poop. Your oil won't stick on it, your fingers, your sweat, your whatever. So the way we're going to fix that, and I'm going to show it on video, maybe this one, maybe the next one. We're going to pull this off. We're going to get because we have to rewire it anyway. We have to put pickups in it. We're going to pull everything out, and I'm going to over drill and fill these holes, and then I'm going to set this thing correctly. And the weird thing is, I pulled these screws out, and you can push the cavity forward to cover that gap and make it fit nice and tight. They just didn't do it. They just didn't do it. Now, there's no excuse for that. And really, I tried to push it and make the screws. Can't do it. Got to fill the holes with hardwood dowel, all three of them, and reset it. Redrill and reset it correctly so that it fits nice and tight. Now that I've said so much about that little thing, I better make it right. Well, to finish this story, I built a jazz bass that looks identical to this one with the same roasted maple neck, a jazz bass neck that I sold to a customer, and he happened to be there when the customer was picking it up, and he loved it. And it had the same kind of tortoise shell or whatever you call this. It had the same paint scheme on it, you know, brown burst, and he loved it. And he goes, I want that bass. And he tried to buy it out from under the guy. So that's what led us to this project. And this one's going to be every bit as good, if not a little bit better. I digress. Let's get her de-strung. I'm going to pause really quickly. I'm going to get the parts out of the way because today all we're doing is de-stringing it. And the first thing I want to do is get this neck off and set the other neck so that that's done. All right, so stand by. So as I said, I just didn't want to take the strings off. You don't need to see that. We're going to knock this neck off. The first and foremost, you want to make sure that the other neck is going to fit in here nicely, which I don't have any concerns, but you never know. We're going to do that first. And this can be unsettling for those of you who are not used to it, if you've never seen it done before, especially if you've never seen it done on your own guitar. Never use a power tool on this stuff. I watch guys do it all the time. I don't know. I wouldn't want to do that. It's bad enough when the screwdriver slips out of your hand and goes across there. Well, you want to use a power tool, go right ahead. Be my guest. I would rather do it slowly and surely and know what's happening. She's ready to pop out. There she is. So this neck was built. Let's just look. Line 2, I don't know, 7709967. I don't know. I gave up years ago trying to run numbers and figure out. Used to be they put the date, stamp the date right there when it was done. It can't be 77, and it can't be 67, and I know it's not 96. It's got to be 17, 2017. Seven keeps popping up there a lot. Anyway, that one's going to sit in the box for a little while. Let's get our new neck out here and see if we can set it properly. Well, I'm going to take these out because I want to make sure that it just goes in there snugly. I want to be able to flip this body over and make sure that that neck fits in the pocket really well. That is key in any build whenever you're setting a neck. So let's do it. All right, 2017, I was right. It's not on the neck, but we don't know when the neck was made. That could have been sitting around for years. February 2017. All right, are we going to have a success here and be happy? Oh, yeah. Yes, we are. I can already feel it. It's going to be nice and snug. Nice and snug. Oh, this is going to be beautiful. I'm going to get a good look at that. And forgive me if my head gets in the way. Doesn't seem like it fits exactly like the other one. But I think it's all the way down in the neck pocket where it belongs. I think it's the pick guard that might be giving us a little bit of a hang up, and that happens. Let's face it. Let's see if we can see the holes in there. If they line right up, then we know we're good. I'm sorry, some of this may not be right in the video, but this is critical when you're matching this stuff up. You want to know where your gappage is. It fit in there very, oh yeah, I like that. Nice and snug. Nice and snug. Nice and snug. So far, I'm pretty happy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see if one of the bolts actually catches and if it's lined up, because I can't really look in. I can't really look inside the hole all the way down in there. It appears as though the holes are all lining up perfectly. And if that's the case, we're going to be Jake. One at a time by hand. And so we don't scratch the paint with the cover moving around too much on us. not lining up. That's why you take the time to do this. And I believe what is holding us back is the pick guard. I think it needs to slide down just slightly more into the pocket. Further investigation is required. I see a gap slightly right here, and I think it's because the corner doesn't want to get right down in there because of the pick guard. I've run into that before. It ain't the end of the world. In fact, I can see it right there and right there. And sometimes there will be goop holding it from going all the way down in there. So let's take a closer look at this. It appears as though it should be bottoming out in there, but I can see a lot of compound. I'm going to clean this cavity out off camera of all the compound. And we're going to try this again. Stand by. So it took some massaging, and it's a good thing I did it off a camera. It is a tight fit, and you see all the specs on the back of the guitar here, that there was a lot of compound down in the pocket of the neck pocket in the body, and it's just leftover compound, which is going to tell me, yeah, but you know, it's just, every guitar is a little bit different, and they're all going to fit slightly different. But here's the main thing: once we got it on there and it's cinched in, I'm going to adjust the camera angle slightly. Once it's in there and it's cinched in, that's a 4/1000 feeler gauge. It's pretty small. Nice, tight. It won't go in. On the side, maybe just a bit, but I'm not going to get in a twist over that. Some of my guitars, this side's even tighter. I'm not going to get in a twist over that. I could hear it pulling up, and it was a snug fit, and that's what you want. You certainly don't want it to fit in there loose. You know, when I built my basses, some of them, I really had to push it down in there, and I had to actually tap on the headstock to get it hammered down into the body, because it, you know, the necks are made separately from the bodies, but they're all made to the same dimensions, Fender to Fender. Okay, so sometimes they fit perfectly and they go right in. This one, you know, because it has, you know, clear coat on the neck but not on the sides, you know, this wood may just be a micron wider. It's better for them to fit firm and have to massage them a little bit. But as I was tightening it in, I could hear it creaking and pulling up the way that wood does. I'm pretty happy with that. Now, I really wish I had machines, because the next step before I even put the new bridge on, I'm going to have to take a leap of faith. What I would do is the old white string trick to make sure that we have good neck angle. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but I can tell by this measurement here and this measurement here, that neck is set in there, and it looks really, really good. I've never had a problem Fender to Fender parts. Sometimes when you're boogering around with other stuff, as long, you know, an aftermarket neck into a Fender body or vice versa, you can run into some real fitting issues. This one wasn't that bad. It gave me a little bit of trouble, but not anything that I haven't seen before. We're going to run with that. I want to make sure that I have this thing, now that it's bolted in, as absolutely in as straight condition as possible. I measured it with a beam not too long ago, and it seems to be holding there. You can already tell the character of the guitar has changed with that darker neck, darker headstock with a darker body. Beautiful, just absolutely beautiful. I'm kind of proud because I'm the one that turned him on to this color scheme. Yes, a little pat on the back. So next thing, we're gonna take a leap of faith. We're gonna pull the bridge off and see if our Babbitts goes in there. I think I'm pronouncing that right, Babbitts. And then we're gonna get after this. We are getting a little long in the tooth on this video, so the first thing I want to check is fitment for the bridge, because that's pretty easy. And then we're going to get that apart so that I can start painting it. That'll take a couple of days, and we're still waiting on tuners, which is going to hold us up for the next installment. So stand by while I unpackage and get this ready. So, leap of faith moment. The last one of these that I tried, yeah, one of the springs may be in the way. I'm going to try to pull this one out. All of my, I just don't understand this. All of my P basses and J basses, well, I only have J bass bodies. They're all 5-hole mounting screws, and somewhere along the line, Fender decided, oh, 5 is too much. We're only going with 3. I don't agree with that. Sorry. Pretty hefty bridge. I like it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Let's see if our mounting holes line up. They do. And it looks as though our string holes line up nicely. Sorry, I'm out of the video. So we only have 3 mounting screws. They line up perfectly. And 4 strings. It's only a 4-string bass. So I think this is going to be a win, and it covers up completely the old outline. I'm gonna call that a success, and we are going to screw this puppy home. Make sure the ground wire is doing what it's supposed to do. Get back in your little thing there. Ground wire just sits under the bridge. That's the body ground. Yeah, I think I can live with that. They don't give you, I don't think, any other hardware. They give you some black ferrules. We may use those, we may not. They give you some black screws. Some black screws would look nice in there instead of silver. I think so. Since we're going with a black theme on this guitar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's amazing. I just got done saying that Fender always put 5 screws. Why is Babbitts only use 3? Why does modern Fender only use 3? It is what it is, but I'm using the black hardware. Because black is the mode of the day. They're not quite as long as the originals, but they're a little fatter, which means they're going to hold better. Slightly fatter. And then, of course, I have to make sure that we're square in there, but the screws should pull up nicely. Is that going to get past that? It looks like it's just the spring that's pushing out of the way. It's not. Pain in the ass. I ran into this with the last Babbitts bridge, and it looks like somebody tried to do the same thing there. Where we had to unscrew the tuning, the intonation screws to get the head of the screw in there. So I'm going to try one other thing. Is it going to get past there or not? That one did. Or did it? I know I'm out of the video, I'm sorry. I get tied up with these little things. Poor design. Poor design. I remember I ran into that with the last one. I ran into that with the last one. Stand by. So yeah, lots of fun. I like Babbitt's bridges. I like the way they sound. But you got to take a bunch of stuff apart just to get the thing mounted onto the body. And I didn't show it in the video because it's just counterproductive. You have to pull the intonation screw out to get that one mounting screw right there in. Otherwise, you're putting too much pressure on it. The other two go right in. I had to pull the saddle out, unscrew the intonation screw, put the body screw in. But now it's in there and it's solid. After we get the tuning machines and we start to string it up, then I'll do the intonation and adjustments there. That turned into more. This was even worse than the one I did on his P bass. And I gotta say, I like the way they sound and I like the functionality of it. But I don't like the installation process. I mean, not just anybody can throw these on a guitar. They're not made for the do-it-yourselfer. Let's just leave it at that. You could easily bend or break or bow something. All right, black ferrules. Are we gonna try that? Sometimes these pop right out. Yeah, and they're going to. Good. I like that. You can get your fingernail under it, then you can get a tool on it and pull them out. They'll pop right out. I'm gonna try one first and see if they're actually gonna fit in there, if we have to glue them. They're supposed to fit really tight. But if we're going with a black theme, why not? Let's just put one in and see what it does. This is a string through, in case you didn't know. Nope, very loose. I'm going to have to glue them in there. Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to glue them in there, but I got to clean out the hole because it's full of compound. The glue will never ever hold it. This isn't the money end of the guitar anyway, so the thing is, the string actually holds them in there, but every time you restring the bass and you pull the string out, these black ferrules are going to pop out. So, all right. So we're gonna call that the first video on this. We set the neck. We removed one neck, set the new neck. This is the neck. This is the forever neck that's going to live on this guitar. We took the factory saddle and bridge assembly out. We put the Babbitts in there. I like these. I like the functionality and adjustability of them. I don't like how they install, but I guess you only have to install it one time. We'll know more about string spacing and everything else later on. I'm going to stop there. We're going to call this a success. It's Blackjack with 396 guitars. We're going to do probably at least one more shot of this guitar while we're putting it together. The next one will be putting in the pickups, and hopefully by then the tuners will be in. So we'll talk soon. Remember, if you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe. Get the whole guitar in there. We'll talk.